Thank you, Chair Duncan, for holding this hearing to discuss how AI is growing our electricity needs. My home state of Georgia has been the top state to do business in now 11 years in a row. We have great leadership in our state, and this economic growth depends largely on abundant, reliable, affordable energy that we have. I just visited to celebrate the expansion of Units 3 and 4 in commercial operation at Plant Vogtle, the first new reactors built in this country in 30 years. Each of these units will power 500,000 homes and businesses for decades to come. Plant Vogtle is now the largest, cleanest power station in the United States. As manufacturing and data centers are coming to Georgia, nuclear energy is going to play a critical role in ensuring grid security and stability. Mr. Hasselballer, according to a McKinsey study, data centers in the United States are expected to consume 10% of the country's electricity by the end of the decade. Nuclear energy can play a key role in that, and of course, these businesses are willing to pay whatever they have to pay to get the electricity that they need. How can tech companies and utilities partner to develop rate structures and tariffs to bring on new nuclear capabilities without raising unnecessary costs for residential taxpayers?
Thank you for the question. And first off, collaboration is key, and you said it first. There are examples of this playing out across the country in different ways, depending on the state and the region. Getting all folks to the planning table early in the process is a top priority, bringing in and trying to help support the needs of the economy and the economic drivers driving the transition. Being able to make it fair and equitable across ratepayers and rate classes is a top priority as well, making sure cost causation principles are applied, making sure that all things are looked at when it comes to providing the power that these facilities need to support that. And so we think we're just in a time of early innovation in this space. There needs to be a lot more of it. The committee may be able to have a role in helping facilitate that to support more of these types of innovative structures to make sure that customers, large, small, medium-sized, residential, all have access to affordable, reliable power, and it gets the power that they want in the regions they want, which is clean.
Good. Mr. Dion, I saw you shaking your head. Would you like to comment on that question?
I think I was just writing notes to myself, Congressman, but I will say this, that it is fantastic to see nuclear back in our portfolio. But in order to take advantage of that, we need to continue that trend. We can't really be a one and done. That is just going to be too difficult. It's going to be too difficult to get a labor force. It's going to be too difficult to get investment, right? What if you're that person working on that nuclear plant? What's your incentive to get done real quickly when you don't have enough in the pipeline? So we are working very hard on that. We're working with our organized labor partners. We're working with the Center for Workforce Development. That is a critical key component, not just the investments that we're talking about. The last thing I would add is the transparency that we talk about. It's definitely a two-way street. We need better insight, and this is going to be something that we're going to have to really work collaboratively with. And EEI and our members are willing to do that. And it may require some NDAs and other legal vessels, but if we don't get the right load information, then we're going to be wrong. Right. Bad data means bad predictions. Yeah. And so we need to be working to find out what's the real load that's going on, and is that load being double counted in any way, shape, or form, and what efficiencies can we count on from the data centers and other large users so that we can factor that in so that we are building to meet the needs.
Well, this needs to be a bottom-up. We solve problems in this country, and we can solve this problem. It needs to be bottom-up and not top-down, driven by the federal government. We have the resources to do that, and I look forward to working with you to make that happen. And we must utilize all energy sources to power our needs. Mr. Clark, how do you see the increase of demand from data centers, AI, and other emerging technologies, along with the reduction in allowable generation coming from this current administration's policies complicating integrated resource plans' ability to meet this new demand?
As I indicated, Congressman and Mr. Chairman, in my testimony, this confluence of increasing demand with pressures on existing generation I think you've heard it from sitting FERC commissioners on both sides of the aisle. You've heard it from the RTOs. You've heard it from NERC. You've heard it from utility operators. The math at a certain point doesn't work. And that's the concern, is that the pressure that's being placed on some of these existing resources will speed up a timeline that we may not be able to meet this increasing demand.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm out of time. I have additional questions that I'll submit to you for the record. Thank you very much for your testimony.